Ladies and gentlemen, we back with it. Got a special guest today, Mr. Legaris.
Thank you for having me.
Patrick.
Yes, sir.
Himself. Legaris Patrick himself, ladies and gentlemen, one of our coaches with High Soccer. Me and him were actually getting ready. We have a big game tomorrow for our UPSL team. We were just connecting, trying to figure some stuff out. And I said, you know what, bro? Let's go live and let's get some questions out there. Because you got a lot of experience as well. So I think it'd be great to talk about it. So, guys, if you got questions, you can save them for the end. But we're going to be discussing kind of everything related to youth development. And I think you guys are going to love this one. And we got Coach Legaris with, I don't know what, 25 years, 30 years of experience in the system.
About that, yeah.
And coaching wise too. So we're gonna have a blast with this one, guys. Okay, so just stay tuned, all right? Anyways, so first before we go into it, at least explain a little bit about yourself, your history, so people know.
Well, I was my parents ended up somewhere in Jersey. For those who know the area, Newark, New Jersey. And back in '74, I was born there. Then they took me back to Brazil. That's where they're originally from.
Yeah.
I got a dad who's from the south of Brazil, called Santa Catarina, Johnsville, but in Portuguese they call it Joinville, they call it. And then my mom is from Rio. So just from that, you can see already that, I'm talking about
Culture.
Yeah,
Culture.
8 hours a day playing
Football
soccer.
blood,
That's it. You slept it. You woke up to it. You heard it on the newspaper. Everywhere you went, people are talking about it.
Yeah.
Depending whatever
It's heritage.
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, it's like a religion out there. So I've went back to, after I was born here in '74. Then I went back and I was out there for 6.5 years, just about a little over 6.5 years. And then I came back to the same area where I was born, and that's where I got into youth soccer. Started out in a boys and girls club. And they had an academy in there, believe it or not.
Boys and Girls Club
Yeah.
of America.
Yeah, believe it or not. And I started there, and I was noticed by a club called Ironbound Strikers in Newark, New Jersey, which is actually, they've grown. Today, I heard, I haven't been keeping up with them because I moved out of there almost 24 years now. 23 years now. Just about somewhere in that range from Jersey.
Yeah.
And I had great coaches. I'm talking about people who were diehard for the game. I'm going to say about 80% of them were Portuguese from Portugal. About 15% of them were Brazilian. And then the last 5% was a mix, some Italians here, what else did I have? Some Colombians and what else?
Just diverse culture.
Just a diverse culture, yeah. Up there, and the the football culture up there is very very strong, very rugged. I mean these these clubs, these academies. Back in my time, at least, I'm talking about like 80s. 70 going to 80s, but I started playing in the 80s, I think I was about 7 or so, but just to finalize on that, just to put as we say, the nail in the coffin.
The nail in the coffin?
About a little bit about my background. Yeah. Like I said, it was a great experience, and I got it from a lot of guys some who came from Brazil, the 15%. Out of 3 of them, one of them was a pro, the other, an ex-pro, who had an incident, he stopped. The other one, no. And then the last one, he played like 3rd division in Brazil or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, that was pretty much. And then the rest of the Portuguese, they all played in their country. Right. And they all went to college here. They became coaches and stuff like that.
Fire.
So, yeah.
But listen, guys, so we have a bunch of questions that basically I'm going to ask it. He'll probably answer first. I'll answer second. And we'll kind of bounce that off each other. So without further ado, we'll get into it. You ready for this?
Sure.
So first question. So you've been around the game for a long time, first as a player, now as a coach. You coached adults and you got into youth now. From your experience, what are some of the most important things missing from current youth American players, just like in general across the board?
Let me see.
From from a general standpoint.
A general standpoint.
Not like the exception to the rule, like you got some players that are playing in Europe already and whatnot, but I'm talking about from a general consensus, your experience, what do you see is missing?
Youth meaning like what age group? Like youth?
Yeah, just in terms of like anywhere from, let's say, like U9 to U17, U18, that range, like in between there.
Believe it or not, I've noticed like the basics, which we learned in other countries, like I did in Brazil, and even up north, I got, some back then, because today I haven't seen that almost anywhere. Only like you literally handpick, and from one hand, you probably find 1, 2, maybe 3, if that, you know what I mean? Yeah. Which is the basics. You know what I mean? How to pass a ball, how to receive a ball.
So fundamentals.
Okay, if you want to use that, I think that's the best word to put it. Right. Just so we could cut right down to the chase. The fundamentals these days, oh my gosh.
Missing.
Oh, it's horrible. Now I can see that, I don't want to, go over my,
So can you put like, I interrupted you, it's my fault.
No, you're fine.
Can you put like, when you say basics or fundamentals, can you give like, it doesn't have to be long, but like a brief description of what you're talking about?
I'll put it in 2, 3 words.
Okay, done.
Passing, dribbling, perception of not only your positioning or of the game.
So you're just saying the level's not high enough?
No. Yeah. Oh my God, we're not even close.
Yeah.
We're not even close.
I'd have to agree. I think this is my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I see too much, like kids will do like, what I will say like ball mastery, where they just do like skills through cones and stuff.
Right.
And you can't translate all that stuff always back to a game. So they're not learning what I call game-based technique. They're learning freestyle, tricks, flicks, but they don't know how to translate that back to the game.
That's right. And depending what level they are, whatever they're being taught and whoever's teaching them, I don't know if these coaches or these academies are well-rounded. I don't know what kind of background they have or what kind of history they have, As far as, the fundamentals, I think these days I'm going to speak also not only to players but to parents. We have to be careful where we're placing our children because, you get to a certain level and you're expecting something from your son that he actually never received.
He didn't learn yet.
He didn't learn it. Why? Because you thought you put, let's say, John Doe, in a academy that's real known around your city or your town or maybe even the state or maybe even the nation. Not calling anyone out by name, but
somebody say move.
Yeah. Oh, here it comes. I see a few spots. That could be it. But and that's very detrimental to the growth of the child. She does, whether it's a he or she, does not grow with the basic fundamentals and are not able to keep up with that level that they're moving on to. And then you have coaches benching them or putting them not only as substitutes, sometimes not even in the reserve. The classifying 22 for the game. You know what I mean? And then you're sitting there and you're saying to yourself, wow, why is this happening? We did all the steps. We paid our dues. How much money did I invest in my child, et cetera, et cetera. But what happened? You faltered to see within the gray lines, which is, if you look at any soccer game or any youth soccer game from outside of the country, look it up on TV, look it up on YouTube.
Look at the level.
Look at the level. You're going to see, and then look at your child playing. Yeah. You're going to know there's something wrong.
Well, you could just easily go look, for example, to your point, you go to YouTube, and let's say your child's U12. Okay. You could go and type in Barcelona, or let's say La Masia, Barcelona,
Barcelona, U12.
Yeah,
let's just use that.
You can see the academy, and you can clearly see the level difference, skillfully, one, and then two, obviously from a team concept, the level difference. It's going to be a massive, massive gap.
No, it's enormous because you see these basic things that your child should be learning, depending on the level, okay, whether, he's 2008, 2010, 2012, whatever he may be. These basic things like looking over your shoulder before receiving the ball, knowing how to receive the ball what part of the foot to receive it with,
Yep.
what part of the foot you're going to pass it with. And before that, how do you shift your body, how to use your arms. All this comes into play, you know, whether you believe it or not. Yeah, whether you believe it or not. This is a balance of the body so you don't twist and hurt any muscle.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little detailed here so you know that the reason why I'm mentioning these details is that I've seen players, youth at like
15 probably.
exactly 2008, right? That's about the 2006
Yes.
that are making mistakes that they should have learned when they were what? When they were
8,
eight,
7.
Yep, 8, 10.
Yep.
You know what I mean? At least 8, 10, maybe 7.
So you're talking about using the body, right? So like
correct. How to shift yourself.
I would even add to this point, like I see kids today, and they go, for example, into a 1v1.
Sorry, just to compliment what he's about to say, not to cut you off. Don't forget what you're going to say. Remember what we said. Basic fundamentals. Keep that in mind. Go
So
on.
what I was saying is, you see kids play 1v1, and they don't ever use the upper body. They're only using
Never.
their feet. So they're
Not in America.
Their
Yeah.
arms are like this, and they say here, you can't play 1v1 against somebody successfully, especially at a high level, and not use your arms.
That's right.
To push through power to body, to do whatever you need to do. That's a piece that the kids are not being taught.
That's right.
From my experience, what I'm seeing is, especially in this day and age, it's leaning more towards coaches at youth level already expect kids to have a certain level of skill when they arrive to competitive. And
Right.
of course, nobody's developing the skill.
No,
So
that's
it's
exactly
just a big flawed system.
Very. Now, mind you, let me just compliment what you just said, right? You said nobody's teaching these kids. Now, and the ones that are teaching, what are they teaching them? Like I just mentioned, you know, how do you turn with your body? How do you use your arms? The other day we were training, I was training 2 kids, and I noticed that flaw. But they're at an age that can still be salvaged, you know, and I was teaching them. Now, one of them was a little more consistent with the other, and the other, he would do it, then he would stop. So you see, you have to develop that in their head, in their mind, so they can understand.
Push through the barrier.
Exactly. Now, going back what you're saying, you know, are these coaches teaching them, or what are they teaching them? If you said that or I said that, whatever that may be, it doesn't matter. But basically what I'm trying to say, what we were talking about before, about how they're training them.
Yep.
When I was younger, I just wanted to, just add that, and compliment what you're saying, is that I had coaches where, like, I'm talking about, I was 7, 8 years old, and I could clearly remember this. They would get on me constructively, okay? Criticizing me constructively.
Constructive criticism.
Constructive criticism, you know? So they were literally getting on me, but in a very positive manner, but firmly. And by that, they were supporting me, saying, don't be afraid. You have to, because in the end, it's a sport, and we're competing. You know?
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, and when there's no competing, it doesn't become a sport anymore.
It's recreational.
Exactly, it's recreational. So for parents, if they're listening, or guys, whether you're 12 or older, or those, even if they're younger, they're understanding what I'm saying, is you gotta try to understand, or try to, read within the gray line. Is like, do I really want to go pro and compete and grow, go pro one day, so I need to compete, I need to grow, I need to develop, or do I want to stay recreational? Because recreational, it really doesn't matter. If you compete sometimes and you lose the ball, even if you want to go become a pro one day, you're going to compete and you're going to lose the ball. But there's a difference in your actions.
Yep, I'd agree.
You know what I mean? You're going to have more intensity. You're going to have the desire to win. You're going to be a little more rugged.
You will not accept losing.
You will not accept losing.
And you'll give everything the entire time. If you're
And
actually
your
competitive.
performance level will be competitive.
Like,
very good.
Let's say this.
So this is not to say, don't get it twisted now, folks. It's a sport. We're not condoning violence here. So don't even throw that in there. What we're condoning is competition. Healthy competition.
So let's add this, right? So this is what I would say. If a player, because let's say a scale of 1 to 10 performance-wise, 1 to 10. Let's say a kid just gives 100% effort.
Okay.
Right, and doesn't make any grave mistake.
Okay.
So it doesn't lose the ball and concede a goal, for example.
Okay.
You're gonna always get 5 out of 10.
Right.
Right. Just by giving maximum effort.
Oh yeah.
And doing just like you just don't do anything that concedes. Like I'm talking about a grave error that leads to a goal. You're gonna get a 5 out of 10 every week. Just give maximum effort. What you do on top of that then can get you the 6, the 7, the 8, the 9, or the 10 if your performance is that good.
And then you become and it's interesting you said that because I've noticed there's like 2 different levels in life when it comes to soccer. There's the amateur and the pro, right? See, the amateur, he trains and he gets it wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong until he gets it right. And then he stops. The pro is like this. He gets it right, he gets it right, he gets it right, he gets it wrong, and then he continues. He gets it right, he gets it right. He does it until he never gets it wrong again.
I remember
so he trains to never get it wrong, while the amateur continues training just until he gets it one right. And that's where we got to cut that off. We got to stop that thinking.
Reminds me of Frank Lampard.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
I remember reading
Frank
stories.
Lampard, of course.
Reading stories, listening to articles or videos or whatever.
Chelsea
guy. He's talking about how he would, obviously he's a very good finisher, striker.
I liked his game. I think he was a top player.
Talked about how many times that he spent time after team practice at Chelsea
national team,
going to go finish. Rep.
Look at
And it was just different types of finish and stuff. And it's like, then you wonder why he's able to translate that. I mean, if we had to put number of hours on, we're probably talking, I don't even want to put a number, but it's a disgusting number of hours.
Now,
practicing, finishing, and shooting.
Now, this is a professional player.
Top
professional player, which I know as well. Loved his game. Love his style of playing, too. Was he a 6 or an 8?
More of an 8-10.
8-10. That's right. He played the midfield. That's right. I always get going, because he would always be back there helping, too. Amazing. And then you would see him in the front, like, oh, my God.
He's like a hybrid.
He's like a hybrid. Yeah, hybrid. That's a perfect word for him. Now, here's the thing. Mind you, what he just said. He would always practice and practice and practice, right? Repetition. Now, there are people in the world that they don't even need to know they do these things. They're out there playing the game and just wanting to get better. Yep. And I'm going to start by kids. There's kids in certain countries, and they don't even have boots, some of these kids. They're poor. You know what I mean? So imagine them playing without the boot, then playing with the boot. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The ball's still the same. So the ball literally sticks to their feet. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they look like they're from out of this world.
Well, you talked about it. You lived in Brazil. I'm sure you either experienced it.
Oh my God!
With people.
I've done it myself.
There you go.
Yeah, I played like until your mother screams out the window, "Hey, come in here!
Hey, carajo!"
Yeah. So that was definitely part. Even in New Jersey. In New Jersey, oh my Lord, no school, it was every day. Right. Even during school, you would you'd come home stinking like a hot box of, dirty socks and sneakers. And let me tell you,
just burning up.
Oh my gosh, man, it was disgusting. You know what I mean? But why? Because not only enjoyed and loved the game, but it was something we took appreciation in doing. And
it meant something to you.
And meant something. Yeah. Did we want to become pros? We did. But during, that how can I put this? During that journey, it's the most exciting time. And we don't realize it till we get older. We're like,
you look back on it.
You look back on it. Yeah, oh shit, I did all that. It was worth it. You know what I mean?
It was like when I went to France, I remember. And I was living in really tough spots.
And that's not what we're getting from youths today, or academy. But go on.
But when I was in France, I lived in what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I lived in a place with nothing. And I'm like, I didn't even have Wi-Fi or TV. And I was like,
yeah, I remember those days.
And I'm like, what is this? This is a first world country. I don't
remember
the
beeper. And then lucky if you could own one. You know what I mean?
Well, and I'm just like, to your point, we look at what kids have these days. They have cell phones, they have TikTok, they have Instagram, they have everything in front of them they could ever want. They have no need to go do football for a lot of kids, especially in other countries, saves their life. Let's be honest, it saves their life. That's fair, right? A lot of these kids come from...
No, it's not fair. It's the truth.
The truth.
It's a fact.
Better word to say.
Yeah. It's actually the fact. These kids literally cry when they become pro and they have an opportunity to speak on the TV.
And they had nothing.
And then we
look at our kids, and it's unfortunate, but it's the truth. youth soccer is basically you have to be well off to be successful in youth soccer.
Yeah.
There's no, I mean, there's no incentive for a club to be free, because if they're free, what reward do they get? They don't get anything.
Yeah.
They just help a kid play soccer for free. There's no reward to it. So it's incentivizing pay to play.
I think it's passed on from, the big wigs that are in charge. They just thought.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
they just figured, okay, we're just going to nipple this out. And what I mean by that, just go ahead and, we're going to milk this out. We're going to milk this guy, you know what I mean?
Until it dies, right?
Until it dies.
Until it dies.
You know what I mean? And then it passes on. And then before you know it, basically, we are being, brainwashed. I'm sorry to use that. It's a little strong, but it's the truth. We're being brainwashed to believe that, that's the path, that's the way. And what happens? Before you know it, your child wakes up.
They're 18 years old.
And they're 18, or they're 20, or they're 22, they're 24. Some are even 25, 26, still believing. I remember I went through that. You know what I mean? But my story is a little different, and
Well, let me ask you
maybe
this next
one
question.
day we'll be able to talk upon that. But just to close on this is this: you got to wake up and get out of that. You know what I mean? You can't there's certain steps that you need to take, not only for fundamentals, but for a child. Responsibilities, accountabilities, and it goes on. You know what I mean? Time on the computer, time on the phone. Okay, if they're gonna. I'm not saying keep it completely away from it, but what are they using it for? Why don't you use it to go on YouTube? Okay, what kind of practices do I need to develop with this or that?
Watch the best players in the world.
Yeah. What kind of exercises do I find YouTube? There's a lot of, tools that you can find instead of,
The phone should be a resource.
Yes.
Not just a gaming device or a brain
completely.
fryer,
I mean,
for lack of a better word.
I'm not going to get political here, but, the agenda for the people upstairs are still the same, and it's working because
control.
It's control, and it's starting to affect even sports these days.
It is.
You know what I mean? So.
Well, let's move on to the next point. So the next question that I have is, you're a coach. How important is intensity from the players at training for you, and why? Intensity.
Wow. It's even sad to even hear this question, because we shouldn't even have a question such as that.
It's competitive, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be.
I mean, let me ask you something. When you go to work, right? When you go to school, when you do your chores, if there's no intensity, how long do you think it'll take for you to complete that?
It's a damn good question. I mean, the way I look at it for me personally is, I say I want to be the best at it. I got to get it done.
Exactly. Or I want to do it with desire.
Yep.
With that taste in my mouth. So when you ask me a question like that, oh my God, it's just, there's so much we can say about it, but
you can unpack it.
Woof! Oh my gosh, we could get into so many details here, but I'll just cut down to this. If there's no intensity, what's the point?
Go play rec.
Yeah, go play rec, because intensity is what's going to drive you to develop a muscle, develop your train of thought when you're in a field, a skill. You know what I mean? And if there's no intensity there, first of all, it starts getting boring.
Especially if you're coaches.
Especially if you're coaches. I can imagine players. You start, to lose drive, You start to lose even, the attention perception. So if there's no intensity, it's like, don't even go to practice. Don't just,
You're going through the motions.
Invest in FIFA.
Or school.
FIFA, video game football. And just forget and not just soccer, any sport.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have intensity for anything.
Or
in life. But since we are talking about football, soccer, for America, right?
Unfortunately.
Go ahead and do things without intensity. You'll see what happens. You'll see the muscles you'll pull. You'll see the twisted ankles, maybe some problems. You could even, tear an ACL. Because when you have...
Or even lack of playing time.
Even lack of playing time. Now we're going, there's that, Because
problem,
if a coach sees you without intensity, or you go for a tryout, whether it's a pro, amateur, whatever that may be, I'll tell you one thing. If it's me, First I'm gonna watch. I'm not gonna say anything. If it keeps repeating, I'll even do the honor of calling you out personally. And the second and last thing, or that'll be like the third, because the first I'm just watching you make the mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, just repeating. The second I will speak to you personally. The third, I'm just gonna call you out, and that's it. You'll never hear me speak to. I guess I'm old school. 1, 2, 3, bow, done. You know what I mean? I know these days people are like one and they're done.
So,
with you. Yeah.
separate question. This is kind of like a side note.
Yeah.
How important is it from your perspective as a coach? So let's say you got a player, example, complaining about playing time. Mm-hmm. Would you rather lie to them and say, well,
No.
you know, or just tell them the truth?
No.
And why?
No. I'll tell you one thing. I've lived in many different situations. You know, the lie is the worst thing you can do for a human being. Okay, you'll keep them, and first of all, it won't be good for you. Whether you're a coach, a parent,
It will always come back to you.
It'll always come back to you. Remember this: you reap what you sow. So this thing about lying to players, don't feed them any horse shit. Excuse my profanity.
That includes you, cash cow.
Yes, that includes you, cash cow. Cows, because there's a lot here. It's
true.
You know, in this United
Stay
America, yeah, United Cows of America. You know, no offense, no pun intended, but I just like to be direct. Okay, so going back to the question, it's better to hurt now.
Rip the Band-Aid off, huh?
Yep. Well, you took the words out of my mouth. You notice that I love using that expression. Rip the Band-Aid off right away. It's temporary to hurt.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's, like I mentioned before, and I use this word, it's detrimental to your growth. It can destroy you.
Absolutely.
It's better that you find out the truth. Hey, I need to work on this. Hey, I got a bad attitude. Hey, sure, there are mannerisms that you can approach a player. There are certain ways, you know, for those coaches. Or
But don't be disrespectful.
don't be disrespectful.
Just be honest.
Just be honest. Now, depending on the time and in the moment, it could be in a field. Maybe, you know, both sides or one side or the other could be, you know, under a little pressure, or it could be a little, you know, the blood could be running fast up to the, you know, in your head, and the other person, whether, like I said, one or both the same or one and both different, the other person could be a little more emotional, a little bit down on themselves, you know what I mean? And of course I am talking about the player, because the one who's going to be telling the truth, who really cares about you and your growth and your development, is going to be your coach or your parent.
It should be.
You know, and it should be.
But the thing that I want to add to that is, like from my perspective, right? So you and me, we have a similar philosophy with it. We want to help kids get to that next step, right? If you lie to them, then you're just covering up whatever failure or excuse or, let's say, deficiency that they have.
No, basically,
they can't get there.
No, you're postponing their growth and their development, basically, because you know what's going to happen down the road.
They're going to hit that wall.
And it's going to rise up again. And if there isn't someone with enough strength, with enough maturity, and enough love and respect for that player, and not confront them.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Boom! Knock it down.
Yeah. So if there isn't someone like that, it might postpone you once again.
Yeah.
And then what happens? You know, it just keeps going. It's a cycle. You know what I mean?
It's a snowball. It gets bigger.
It's a snowball. It gets
Boom.
bigger. And guess what? You don't mature. And sometimes it's not only in the sport, sometimes it's not only in the sport, in your position, as an individual player, as a group player, as a team player, and even in your personal life. So,
yeah, it's nuts. But okay, next question, right? So this is something that we've talked about, and I think it's good for people to hear this one. So let's assume we're talking about somebody that's like ready to make that next jump. Maybe it's college, maybe for example Division I or something, or maybe it's going to Saudi, getting a big contract, going to Saudi,
which is an open
big
door
market
right now, big market.
So the question
for those who
is,
don't know,
and we can discuss this one. how can you tell, for you personally, or believe that somebody's ready to go to the next level and make that jump to, for example, again, Division I college, or maybe you're ready beyond that to go professionally and say Saudi? What does a player need to have from a general standpoint?
Well, I'll be honest with you. In my days, we were very serious about being what we wanted to be.
I agree.
And we did not take practice lightly. We did not take ourselves lightly. We were very serious, you know. The maturity level today is a little different. You find a few in a bucket, you know.
It's a smaller ratio now.
It's a smaller ratio.
And honestly, I feel like it's splitting the opposite way.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, well said. Yeah. It's actually splitting the opposite
It's getting
way.
smaller, and then it's going from like closing the gap this way to now going the opposite.
Yeah.
And this gap is getting smaller.
Yeah.
And then this gap is shrinking. Then
Yeah.
it's flipping the other way.
That's exactly what, yeah. So, why did I use that word? And why did I use that specific? Because when you're serious about yourself and you just start to mature a lot younger and you start to take things more seriously, so then your development will come faster. Everything you do in practice, it's like all or nothing. It's as if you're in a World Cup game. You know what I mean? Sure, there are times where you're gonna kid with a fellow player.
You can have fun.
That's
But
what
you gotta
soccer's
be
about.
Serious.
But during
Serious
yeah,
fun.
yeah. There you go. Yeah, and it can be fun, real fun. There's nothing wrong with that. But during your development, man, this is an individual thing. Here's what I found. Sorry about that.
Siri even found it.
Siri even found it. This is what I found. Yeah, there you go. It's personal.
Yeah.
The development's personal.
Well, it's like, what are you willing to sacrifice?
So what do you? And wow, you took the words out of my mouth. That's perfect. It looks like we have the same telepathy over
There you
here.
go, yeah.
Yeah. What are you willing to do? You know, what are you willing to sacrifice? You know what I mean? And I think it really comes down to you.
Yeah.
And we're talking about what I'm saying and what I'm responding to him as the player. How serious are you? You know, to go into the next level? Because if you're that serious, the results will start showing. You won't even have to ask your coach, Coach, am I ready? Am I doing? Sure, if you want to ask, hey, do you see something I need to develop in? Yes, this and that. Go, continue working on it, and do it.
Yep.
Why? Because when there are people watching you, they will come to you. And that's when you're going to know that you're ready.
Well, and I will add this.
Of course, you'll have to expose yourself in certain places, which is like finding out where people show up, scouts, etc., when there's tryouts and stuff like that. Of course, you have to do your homework and you have to put the work in. And I mean, not just the work as far as the maturity level, the practice, you know, how serious are you about it? And then also being at the right place at the right time.
I'll give you,
know what I mean?
I'll give you some tangible objectives though for people.
So you can be exposed and noticed.
So, like, I typically this, like, I've had people ask me, Coach, like, do you think I'm ready? Okay, what does your body look like? Are you in the gym?
If you want to get in details, well said.
Are you in the gym? Because
Yes.
like, if you haven't noticed, if you don't watch enough professional football yet, the game is becoming way more athletic. Not even necessarily physical, but athletic.
Yes.
The build of the body is so important now.
Yes.
1, 2. These are the things that are not even on the field, but off the field related. What are you eating? What does your nutrition look like? Your hydration? Do you take care of your body? Are you going out and eating fast food? Do you stretch or don't you stretch? Do you take a warm-up seriously? Like, these are little things before you even get on the actual field for training or games. Like, your warm-up.
Yes.
Is your warm-up good or is it shit? If it's shit, you're not serious.
Yep.
You're not going to another level. If you don't cool down, like let's say you finish a game and you just literally walk off the field, talk to your coach, and bolt.
Yeah.
You need to relax your body before you walk off the field.
This is another thing that that Coach is mentioning now that, you know, I didn't know we could go a little deeper. You know, which is it's great.
Yeah.
This is great. Because like I said, I'll start with this. Like I mentioned before, there are avenues, you know, like the computer, like your phone. You could look for this information if you don't get it from us or you get it from the right coaches, you know, that you prefer, that you believe they're, you know, They're out for your own good,
Yep.
not for theirs. And they're willing to help and extend a hand with their knowledge, their experience, etc. But look, you have to remember this, what Coach just said, right? Kyle just said. Yes, it's different out there these days, The physique, the speed, the resistance, the agility.
The level.
Is
only increasing.
It's only increasing. And I mean, and I believe you might, if you disagree, that's fine. And I believe that many of these guys is just that. There's only a few you're gonna find, okay, but they're pro level though, okay? But only a few Messis and Cristiano Ronaldo.
Those are exceptions.
Those are exceptions. Now, so mind you, you have to get to the level. And if you want to be an exceptional player and you're not doing the basics, you can forget about it. Mm-hmm. You're lucky if you even make it. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing I want to add to that is you're ready for the next level as well. This all goes together from my perspective.
Yeah.
When you are the top performer on the field.
Yeah.
If you're not consistently
Yes.
the top performer on the field, you're not serious about getting to the next. It's just, and you play, and I don't mean just playing in the game. I mean performing, because I feel like this is something, especially in youth soccer today, that is, like I was mentioning earlier, like you got this gap of this, and then it's more of this. Like people are expecting their kid, or the kid is expecting to get to the next level, and it's like, well, you were in the game, but you didn't make an impact in the game.
Good point. How about this, if I may add?
Yeah.
And the question is, Coach, am I ready? Right? Go ahead. Show me the question again.
The question again was, how can you tell or believe, so from your perspective, that a player is ready to go to the next level?
So basically, it's a player coming to you and saying, hey, Coach, do you think I'm ready? You think I'm ready for the next level?
It doesn't even have to necessarily be that. It could just be like, hey, would you recommend somebody?
How about this? If you're doing all the things, okay, and even so, you have to be exposed and noticed.
Check this out.
And you have to be playing great games. But watch this.
Check this.
Don't forget what you're going to say. Watch this.
I'm going to forget.
Okay, you go ahead and speak.
No, because I
won't.
I think it will help us frame the question, right? So, like, let's say that you had to make a recommendation for somebody to go to the next level. So, like a scout comes in and says, hey,
I'm not going to forget.
Recommend it.
You know what I'm going to... Now, this is me telling the player.
Yeah.
Okay, if I had to recommend, this is me telling you, player, if I'm going to choose you. This is the things that should not be happening.
Tangible.
Okay? Yes. Should not be happening. Is your coach always telling you something during the game? Are you always asking, did I do this right? Did I do that wrong? Are you gassing out during the game? Are you playing in a group and not just individually trying to dribble everybody? That's another thing that we should have mentioned earlier with fundamentals. Knowing when to dribble and why you're dribbling. Okay? What else? The eating habits, the sleeping habits. I mean, we could go on to...
Taking care of your body.
And we could use... I may sound cliche, but I don't care. We could use Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay? You see him drinking a glass of wine with his wife, maybe on TV here and there, when they're together. Sometimes you catch something on YouTube or whatnot. But during season, and even after season, it's rare that you see that. What do you see him doing? Spending time with family. He's still exercising, eating correctly, sleeping right, making sure he's surrounded by good, happy, positive people who wants his best. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot that goes into play with that. So then, these days, you're telling me I could find 3 or 4 or 5 guys, or 6 or 7. Are you out of your mind? Good luck with that. And I'm talking about between 15 to 17.
The gap is extended.
And the gap is extending, just like you said.
Yeah.
So for me to recommend somebody, I'm putting my name on the line. No, I'm not.
I'm glad you said that.
There really has to be let me tell you, the difference has to be. It's not an impossible thing what we're saying here, but the difference has to be so immense it's as if wherever you go, you have like a light coming out of you. You know what I mean? Why? Because the only time I'm driving words towards you is to tell you, this is the next exercise. Oh, this is what we're going to do. Hey, this is where I'd like for this game. This is the kind of game we're going to play because of this team, they play a certain way. That's it. Not like, hey, your position wrong. Hey, you're the. Now, if you need to be worked on that, we're gonna work on that. Now, if we're working on that and you're not developing, and we're constantly telling you what to do, then you need to go back to step one.
Yep. Until
you get step one right, 2, 3, 4. And these days, it doesn't even matter the age, because we got people that are U15, 16, 17 that are playing like they're U12 because they didn't learn the fundamentals.
It's true. Well, and I was going to add this point. So, like, if I were to make a recommendation for somebody, because let's say a scout, because there are scouts that talk to us sometimes, and they say, hey, what do you can you recommend somebody, we're looking for X or Y or Z? And what people don't understand, I'm giving you my perspective as a coach. I'm sure Coach Lagares, Pilotto, Patrick can give his analysis too, but I'm not going to recommend somebody unless I am convinced, and I'm going to phrase it like this, that the player is going to perform and the player is not going to screw me. Because what I mean by that is, if I make a recommendation, because I have some friends I can make recommendations for, or like people that I work with, and let's say I make a recommendation and the player that I recommend, pardon my French, but fucking blows it. Like, boom, blows it. Do you think that person's going to trust me again to make a recommendation?
Now, before he says anything else, hold that. Just keep this in mind. It's not to say that you're going to go on a tryout and blow it. And even if you do, as long as you did your best, you know what I'm saying? Or, and he knows that you did, you know what I mean? That goes into play as well. But if you're just going to go and you're not preparing yourself, like you exposed enough where we saw, okay, he has the potential. I would recommend him then, and then you go and you don't prepare yourself to go and stuff like that. Yeah, I wouldn't chance it either. You know what I mean? But I think
that's your reputation on the line.
That's your reputation on the line. So for us, at least, I'd say for us, it's you have to be very picky, very specific, with the people that you're going to drive towards that avenue, because your name is on the line.
Well, let's use this example. Right? Let's say a Division I college coach calls you or me and says, hey, what do you think of this kid?
Yeah.
And let's say they missed, in a month of practice, they missed 3 practices. To be completely honest, my opinion, I'm not recommending that kid.
No.
And I'll tell you why.
No.
Because in college football, college soccer, professional, obviously the same thing. You miss 1 practice, holy shit, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You're going to be cut, or you're going to be released, or
They're
whatever. You're screwed.
Yeah.
So if you're in youth soccer,
and depending on the college
and
too,
you're
right?
You're skipping practice, or like team meetings. Let's say you had a video conference. Like we had a video conference today. I'm gonna be honest. We had a video conference on Thursday because we didn't have practice. We had half our squad, and these guys are ones that want to go to. They want to go to college.
Yeah.
They want to be professional.
Yeah.
And we have like 21 guys on this team, and we had 10 or 11.
Now, we're not here to, like I said, destructively criticize.
It's just
we're not giving names or anything. We're just telling you the truth.
It's the truth.
Now, like it or not, that's your problem.
So, like, if somebody, like using that example,
it's just a fact.
When you go to the next level, video review or video analysis, you're going to be doing that basically every single day.
Yeah, so
with the team or with a group or something. So if you're not committed to showing up to that in youth soccer, and you come to me and say, hey, Kyle, can you recommend me because this coach, I can't.
Yeah.
Because you didn't take it seriously enough with me. How can I tell you you're going to do the same thing there? Because if I make the recommendation for you, and then the coach calls me later and says, hey, well, you recommended this kid, what happened? And I'm going to say, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. So like those are little details, I think, again, the little details that people don't think about.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, there's not a lot of people, in my opinion, that care about you guys that are listening to this, are going to watch this later or even now, that, like me and Coach Pilotto, we want to see you guys succeed, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see you guys get to levels that I didn't even get to, or to my level at a minimum.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to be successful, but if you're not willing to buy into what needs to be done, so for example, you have a video review and you don't follow it, don't think that you're going to the next level. If you skip practice
that's such a basic thing too.
Check this out. If you skip practice because you want to go to Halloween Horror Nights, which is big in Orlando, especially this time, and you skip practice, and you want to be recommended for somebody to go to the next level, dude, there's no way, bro. Like, you're missing pieces. Like, and I hate to be that honest, but I have to be that honest because it's literally the truth. If you're choosing to miss what you need to do because you say, hey, I want to be a professional or a Division I college player, whatever the circumstances for you, fine. But you're choosing to go do something that takes away from that dream, then don't expect people like me and Coach Pilotto to help you get there. And this isn't about Andrea Trick. I'm just explaining to you. I'm giving reference because these are things that are happening today. Then don't expect help because it's like you're not helping yourself.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to help yourself, don't expect other people to help you do something. There's just no way to have that actually happen.
You're completely right. It's interesting. If you go look at people who own their own business, okay, a lot of them that that I've met in the past, they started they were like, if I was willing to wake up 6 a.m. for a company, why am I not able to wake up 6 or 5 a.m. for myself? It's my own company. You know what I mean?
Good question.
I mean, I just use that simple, basic, example so you guys can get an idea as far as like what Coach Kyle just said. Dude, if you're not willing to go out there for yourself, who do you think is going to do it for you? Nobody else is going to do it. And the time is just going. Here, let me just put another...
And we're motivated to help you.
Yeah.
But you got to be motivated to help yourself.
There you go, yeah. You know what's funny, but serious and sad at the same time, is that, like, what you just said, right? It's like, you see so many kids mention what they want, but they're not willing to do it.
Action.
They're not willing to put...
Speaks louder
than words.
Or shows, really.
Yeah.
Action shows more than words.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
And just to finish, sometimes I think, why do they act like that? Why did they say things but they don't mean it and they don't follow through? Now, I'm not throwing the hot potato in the parent's hand.
Catching.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But basically what I'm trying to say is, what kind of lifestyle do you have at home? Are you accountable for keeping your room clean, for washing the dishes, for cleaning the house, for taking the dogs out for a walk, cleaning the dogs, for helping your parents, like stuff like that? Now,
how about just taking care of your own shit?
Or just basic
your own soccer
shit.
gear. How many times do you see kids not take care of their own stuff?
No, oh my gosh. Yeah, they leave shit behind or whatnot.
I'm even just talking about their soccer equipment, like the water, their cleats, their uniform.
Yeah.
Most kids that I know, who takes care of that? Mom and dad.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, guys, seriously, 15 years old, okay? I learned when I was 13. I was almost 13. I was still like 12 and a half.
Yeah.
Because I asked because I was constantly getting my soccer gear dirty. This is the truth, I'm telling you. I asked my mother and she helped me. She's like, this is how you wash clothes, okay? So if I wanted something clean, I'd get it done. It wasn't too long, maybe a year and a half, 2 years later, she taught me how to what? How to iron. I know this may sound silly. We're talking about soccer and, about these questions, but where am I going with this? Guys, these basic fundamentals as well as home, it affects you when it comes to the field because if you can't do the basics even for yourself at home, how are you going to do anything for yourself in a soccer field? You know what I mean? You don't have no accountability.
Yep.
You don't there should be no excuses. No excuses in whatever level you're in. And I'm talking about financially, family, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
If you're out there and you made it to the academy, it's paid, and you're playing for us, no. You should have no excuses. Because if you go to a third world country, these kids are carrying water for their family for like a mile. They go to school.
They're barefoot.
They wash their own clothes, and they still get time to play soccer and play it seriously. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying it's every country. Some countries are a little different, but they still have different chores that are just as tough. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about these kids are getting up, not 7, 8 in them. They're getting up early, 5, 6 in the morning too. You know what I mean? Some maybe even early. Who knows? You know what I mean? Why? Because if you don't make it to the well to get the water,
they're out of water.
Or they just have to wait online and they're going to miss what? Breakfast that they got to cook, get to school on time, whatever that may be. Why am I using that example? Because there are some stories and some videos I saw in the past. I'm just trying to remember a little bit and connect them and just give you like a basic, simple example and idea of how much we haven't made in this country and how we can overcome. We're privileged to some extent. We are. But with these examples, maybe we can wake some of you guys up, those who are really serious and want to take themselves serious, and, get you out of that matrix, basically, you know what I mean? Take the blue pill, right? Is it the blue or red pill?
Whatever color.
Yeah, whatever color it was. I don't even remember. Yeah. Get out of there.
So, the thing is, right, this is stuff that drives my gears, or grinds my gears, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, kids say, I want to be a professional. Okay, cool. Or Division I college. Whatever's your thing. You want to go to the next level. And you can't even manage your own bag, and you can't manage your own time. So, for example, you have practice at 6:30. It shouldn't be dad saying, okay, let's say your kid's 12. I would say 12 and older. 11, 12, give or take that age range. Older, beyond that, obviously. So let's just say 12 for a simple number. 12 and older. If dad or mom has to be like, okay, Johnny, it's time to go to practice, and you're the player not taking care of your stuff, then don't ask me to help you be recommended for something. Because that for me just shows you don't have the responsibility.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. When you go and become a professional player, like you can Google this. Look up Aston Villa. I forget the exact wording, but it's like the team responsibilities or player responsibilities. It was under Steven Gerrard. They posted a picture of the player responsibilities. So there were fines if the player was late 1 minute, and every single minute sequential after that, there was an additional fine of whatever amount of money. It was thousands of dollars because they make a lot of money. But the point is, they have a responsibility to be on time, to take care of their stuff. And the point that I'm trying to make is, how do we expect players to be ready for a level like that if they're not learning that in youth?
Yeah. Because
mom and dad, privileged, are taking care of their kids' stuff. And another example, I played Division II college, okay? The first week we had training, my freshman year, 2 kids arrived 1 minute late. They were suspended the rest of the day.
Wow.
1 minute late, they were suspended the rest of the day. That doesn't happen in competitive youth soccer. Not in youth. I mean, if you play for an MLS academy, maybe. But I'm talking about in the pay-to-play grassroots model, that literally does not exist because parents are paying for it.
Yeah.
They expect their kid to play. I mean, I had to deal with a conversation today with a parent because she misread this was yesterday, by the way. She misread what the child needs to wear for training or for the game, whatever it was. I think it was a game. And she came with the wrong uniform. So her coach was like, you're not going to play because the child was not going to play because he's with the wrong uniform. So I'm the director. Mom talks to the coach, does not get the pass, right? Because the coach said no. So she comes talk to me because I'm the director. This is before you got there. And she's like, Kyle, I'm upset. I'm like, okay, what happened? Yesterday. She's like, I'm upset. And I'm like, what's the problem? She's like, oh, well, the coach isn't letting my son play because he's wearing the wrong uniform. I'm like, well, did you pay attention to what he sent? Yeah, but we came with the wrong one. There's a consequence when you do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
There's a cost.
People don't want to be liable for their mistakes.
Yeah, and it's not a big mistake. Don't get me wrong,
but still,
there's a cost.
There's a cost. Yeah.
And by the way, there can be a positive cost and a negative cost. So the positive cost, if you bring your uniform, you play. If you don't bring your uniform, you wear the wrong thing. I told the guy, I'm like, dude, I agree with you. You sent out he's like, I sent out the thing. I'm like, they came with the wrong thing. That is on them. I agree with you. But the mom felt privileged because she's paying. She doesn't have to follow the instruction, and she feels like that she was in the wrong, or not that she was in the wrong, but we were in the wrong for withholding that standard.
Now, mind you, let's just say, which she did say, it was a mistake. I misread it, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. How are you still going to put a player with a different uniform in the game? Do you think the referee is going to accept that?
Do you think that at the next level they're going to accept
Do you think at the next level, you know what I mean? He's coming to a game all incorrect, or he's not making to a meeting or an interview or
responsibility.
A responsibility, basically.
Be responsible.
So basically, what he's saying, here's where I put in my 2 cents.
Make it 3.
After saying, or 3 cents. Okay, Mom, we understand. You got it wrong. Okay? but it's like as if me getting into an accident, okay? Got into an accident, and I turn to the cop and say, no, you can't give me a ticket, okay? I misread the light. I thought it was green.
It's a viable excuse there, Coach.
Forgive me.
It's not going to work.
Now, do you think he's going to let me off in the accident and still not give me a ticket?
He has to.
That's just the way the world works. There's consequences. Okay, I believe you misread it, but unfortunately, you did get into the accident. Thank God nobody died, nobody got hurt, but you will be ticketed, okay, and you're going to have to pay.
You made a mistake.
You made a mistake, okay. Yeah. We understand. Okay, you made a mistake, but unfortunately, I don't even think we should use that word unfortunately, but
the cost is
the consequence is he doesn't get to play. Unless you want to run home, grab the right uniform, come back, he can make it to the second half. That shows at least a little initiative. You're willing to fix it.
I was going to say, you're going to fix the problem. Okay, yeah. We'll help you.
We'll help you. Yeah, we're like, okay, let's go get it, okay? You can leave the boy here with us. Go get the uniform, come back. Boom.
Because the other thing she asked
take him.
She was like, can you just put a penny on him? And I'm like, that's not how this works. You can't just put a penny on somebody. Yeah. But that's a whole separate story. But again, I think the key thing to take away from that is, and I would even put that on the player first, especially again when they get to that 12 years old mark. That's why I put out the future pro player checklist. Responsibility. It should be on the kid because it's their dream. If a mistake happens, a mistake happens. And this is what I would do. This is my personal opinion, right? So I don't have a kid for reference, but if I did have a kid and he's at that age, I would put the responsibility on him, one, or her. And two, let's say he made the mistake. I'm using a boy an example just to say less words. And he made the mistake, he forgot the wrong shirt. I'm not even going to be mad. You know what I'm going to say? Cool, no problem. Sit down on the bench with your teammates. We're going to enjoy the game. Sucks for you, bro, but you made the mistake. That's the cost of missing this for forgetting your damn shirt. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to sit here. I'm going to grab a beer. I'm going to grab a little brewski, pop that top off, sit there and enjoy the game watching your team play because you failed to bring your damn shirt. That's going to be the consequence. And I bet you my kid will be crying his ass off and be like, yeah, well, hopefully you learned your damn lesson. Make sure your shit's packed. Always bring all 3 shirts, home, away, training, whatever. It's every single game. And if you're not doing that, that's on you, man. Correct?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. There's no easier way to put it. I mean, if there's no accountability, there's no... Like, who wants to be the pro? Or who wants to go somewhere with football? Is it mom? Is it dad?
They can support you.
Or is it you? I mean, that story, I even kind of feel bad for the mom. She was trying to save him. And sometimes the parents trying to save is actually getting in the way. I think at home should be like, that's where you need to check them, okay? Yep. So we're not getting on parents. We're not trying to...
It's education.
Yeah, it's education. We're not trying to get on parents, and we're not trying to tear down the player, whether it's a he or a she, okay?
So I want to ask you this question.
Just to close on that, we're just trying to say, like, okay, where's the perspective here? Where's the priorities? What do we need to put in place so it doesn't happen again? And that's it. Fix it, nip it in the butt, end the story. That's it.
So, I mean, we kind of answered, but I want to ask you the question. You can just say yes or no.
Okay.
You don't need to add more, and I'll do the same thing.
Okay.
Do you feel, from what you've seen now over the last 25 years, being in coaching and whatnot, that youth soccer adequately prepares players for the next level, a.k.a. collegiate and professional soccer or football? Yes or no? Adequately.
Is that an UFO? Oh, no, not here. That's my answer. I know it's nothing with nothing, right? It's like, what the hell is he talking about? Absolutely not. Are you kidding me?
Same answer, no.
We're not even close. We're not, like, basically, like, I wouldn't even recommend people to start here. I have my reasons, and I've seen it with my own eyes. Thank God he helped me. He took me to... he showed it to me, and I seen it with my own eyes. I seen it, I mean, I had front seats.
Yeah.
And, I mean, unfortunately, there are organizations and people involved that they don't know scappity-doo about soccer.
Well,
Never even played their whole lives. And if they did, it was probably recreational, maybe a little college, that's it. And just said, you know what? This looks like we could make some good money here. You know, I could get a great position. You know, I can travel.
$200K a year.
Yeah. So, because I'll be honest with you, you go to any other country, it is vital who they put in place. Because you know what? You're representing the country. And I'm talking about starting at youth level all the way up to national team. Who are you putting? You better have played. You better have had a name that everybody knows. Mm-hmm. You better have been sought through the country in certain clubs or across seas from the country they're from. You know what I mean? But here, it looks like any Tom and Jane, you know, Dick and Jane, I mean, can just be, voted in and learn a few,
I want to add this piece.
A few courses online and, sign a few papers, get a few simple little licenses, run around the field a little bit. Hey, I did it, and that's it.
I want to add this piece. So
absolutely not.
I've talked about this multiple times. I have a very good friend of mine, very much like a dad to me. He's the current technical director at Olympique Lyonnais.
In France.
Of course. One of the top clubs in France. Yep. I don't think they're doing super hot right now. But anyways, the point is, so they have a boys' academy.
They are still in first division.
Yeah. They've had a professional. They are a professional club, one of the top in France. They have a youth academy. The youth academy is free. For 2 age groups, they have 13 scouts just in one region. But that's a separate point. The point that I'm trying to make is, they now, in the last 5 to 7 years, truly started investing into women's football. So girls football. So they have a women's professional team. They've invested into the academy for girls. Girls is free. They don't pay anything. So it's not a lot. There's 20 to 30 players per team, but they're free and they don't pay anything. The point that I'm going with this is, what I've seen, and I've called this a couple of times, basically 8 years ago when the last two women's World Cups previously, I said the USA women's is going to be in trouble. Because once international countries or clubs that are in international countries, so Spain, Spanish clubs, English clubs, French clubs, Italian clubs, and they start investing into women's football and youth football for girls, they're going to absolutely explode because they already have the infrastructure.
Yep.
They already have the system. They have everything in place. All they have to do now is invest $500,000 a year, maybe $1 million at most, to start developing the girls' side.
And for those...
To develop first-team girls, to develop pro girls. We don't have that model here. There is no club. For example, Orlando City does not have a girls' academy. It doesn't exist. So because they don't have an academy, there's no girls that are playing for free that aren't on track to be professional players. So my unfortunate reality with this is... My perception, I should say, not my reality.
Right.
My perception is USA Women's was here at the top. Now we've dropped to this point. I feel unless things change very soon, the level or the gap, I should say, will continue to decrease or increase down, while other countries, French, Spanish, English, continue to rise because they have an academy system in place that we do not have, and they've already replicated it with the boys' side.
By the way, congratulations to the ladies' Spanish national team. Beautiful. Yes. I mean,
round of applause.
Did you see them play? If you guys didn't, you should go to YouTube, look up the videos. I'm talking about, I can't say, how they say, they played like the men. No. They played like the ladies.
The women.
Yep. Smooth, touching the ball, dribbling, doing things that I was flabbergasted when I saw they had this.
Good level.
I'm talking about, that it was very high level. I really love what Spain did with their women's national team. Great job, Spain. Country is Spain. Yes, kudos to you.
I want to ask this last question. And then we can wrap it up. And if there's anybody that wants to ask a question, we can see it. It's hard for us to see, to be honest, because it's sideways. But point is, last question is, and we'll both answer it.
And he's talking about the camera, so sorry, guys.
So the last question that we want to answer is, do we think, so you first, me second, or I go first, it doesn't matter, on current trajectory and what we've seen and experienced from the U.S. youth soccer system, that the United States men's national team can win a World Cup in the near future? You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I'm out of here. That's enough.
Okay. He's out. He doesn't want to answer. Take a seat, hombre.
All right, I'll come back. This one's a tough one. You wish. That's easy.
I hope we're wrong. I hope we're wrong. But
I don't, because I'm sure we're right what we're going to say. That's absolutely not. There's not even like a light at the end of the tunnel. And why do I say this? Go ahead, ask me why.
Why?
Because our youth system is broken.
I think it's being generous to say it's broken.
I am, actually, yeah, because there's a few,
Let me ask you this question.
I got a
separate
few,
question.
I got some serious, artillery here that I can pull out. But
when you were a kid growing up in New Jersey, how many youth competitive leagues were there?
Oof.
Lot, little.
I'll be honest with you, there was a lot.
Oh yeah,
there was a lot.
Because when I was a kid, growing up, there
in
was
my
two
area,
competitive leagues.
and I'll tell you why. Leagues you're talking about, right?
So
leagues,
when I was a kid,
sorry. I'm gonna say please forgive me. He said leagues. I don't know why I read academy.
Teams.
Yeah, teams.
We had 2 leagues.
No, there was a lot of teams where I came from. Leagues, because of my age.
What are you, 25?
30? Me? We'll leave it at that. He did say he's been in soccer for about 25, close to 30 years, so he's right.
It's true.
Yeah, so I'm not going to say my age. But anyway, guys, just to keep it fun and alive, joking around a little bit here, but breaking the ice, as we say.
Break the ice.
But leagues, I'm going to say, like, for youth, when I was a youth, you're probably right. I think there was just a few. There wasn't that many.
For me, there was 2.
For me, I'm going to say probably double that, 3 or 4. But I remember only two, maybe 3. Now, mind you, the 2 would be one for futsal and one for outdoor.
I'm just talking about soccer.
You're just talking about outdoor? Maybe 2. Yeah, maybe 2.
So the reason I bring this
2.
up, though, I don't know if you know this.
because we would always follow the same league like every year. You know what I mean?
Check this out. So I don't know how many people know this.
Like
but
sign up for the same league.
We live in Florida. So as of today,
Orlando, Florida.
I did the research, right? I found that there are 26 competitive youth soccer leagues in Florida today. And there's probably some that I missed, by the way. So there's probably like 30, 32, 35. So we went from 2 competitive leagues from when I was a kid to now 26 official confirmed competitive leagues today in one state.
Now, can you explain why that's good or bad?
Bad.
Explain why.
Very simple. A couple of reasons. First one, money. People are making leagues to make money. It's a platform because there's I think, if I did my math correctly, if I can remember the math, I think there's 8 leagues that all talk about this.
Think about that.
There's 8 leagues that talk about this patch
on
your shoulder that says you are next, or you are whatever acronym is there to be this next global superstar. That's all a money-making machine.
Now, what he said, be careful. Because you got to read within the gray lines. What kind of contract are they offering? Why did I just mention that? Because we have spoken to a parent that actually read the contract. And fortunately, that parent, I won't say if it's a mom or dad, we will not say, they rejected the contract and saved their son from being tied down in a contract that can destroy their entire career. So,
but let me add this last part, and then we'll wrap it up. Do I think in the near future the United States men's national team can win the World Cup? No, I don't. I hope for the country I'm wrong, because I think it'd be great. I don't think it's ever going to happen just because of what's happening. Some people will say, "Oh, well, we have more players in the pro leagues." Okay, sure, because we have 2 reasons. We have more kids playing soccer than we ever did, probably.
Well,
1, 2, more people are taking the risk to go to Europe. So let's use Christian Pulisic. He went to Europe. He went multiple times in his youth career, and he got there full time. If I remember correctly, reading the documentation, 13 or 14 years old, maybe even slightly younger, full time. So that means he moved there full time, and there's more people doing that, and then getting into academies overseas. I've trained 2 kids personally that have done this. They've left the United States and gone overseas to a professional club. Now, you have to be careful how you do that, which we can talk about another day. But the point is, people are taking that risk. But if you look at the overall theme of grassroots, I'm not talking about the 0.01% of players that we have. I'm talking about the overall programming of youth soccer in the United States. Mm-hmm. We do not have the environment, the structure, the culture, the ability. Mm-hmm. Well, ability is not the right word. I'm trying to think of something else. But the formation is a better word, I think, to develop players, to get to that level, to win a World Cup. My final piece for this would be, when we played in this last World Cup for men's, and we played Holland, everybody was talking about how we dominated the game, Like, I was listening to the commentators afterwards and whatnot, and they're like, yeah, it's not a bad thing, we lost, but we dominated the game. And I'm like, do you know why we dominated the game? Holland did not care. Yeah. That we had the ball. You can see it. And on defense, no joke, bro, on defense, they man-marked our 3 midfield players. Yeah. So Frankie de Jong and the other 2, I don't remember off the top of my head who they were. Yeah. They man-marked our 3 midfield players, which was like Tyler Adams and whoever the other 2 were again. I think McKennie and somebody else. Mm-hmm. They man-marked the 3 of them.
As duas caixas, thing.
So they man-marked 3 guys man-to-man on defense. Does that not tell you that they thought that player for player they were better than us? So yeah, they didn't care about, and especially because they scored early, they didn't care about ball possession. They managed the game, because there's multiple ways to play. There's not just one way to play. It's not just possession. Yes. There's teams that will be very compact, defend, and counterattack. Yes. And then once they get the goal, especially in international football like this, and you would know as well as I do, is once they score, they can relax in terms of like trying to be full-fledged on the gas.
They can control the game without even touching the ball if they want.
Because they can just manage the game. Yep. And then win the ball, break. Yeah. Win the ball, break. Yeah. Win the ball, break. Because it's on the other team to score. Because it's knockout football at that point. Yep. So it's little things like that. I mean, like I think there's so many like.
It's almost as if
irrefutable flaws that will kill us and will be continuing to kill us until you guys as parents wake up and say, you know what we have isn't working. And again, I'm going to keep putting out content to help you guys make better decisions. If you did not watch my live event, which I hosted on September 8th, where I gave you guys, I'm going to tell you the truth, I gave away over $23,195 of stuff, programs that I have, that I was actually making money on previously, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it away for free. Because I want you guys, I want education for youth soccer to be accessible to everybody. That's why it's free. But the point is, if you guys don't start making changes for yourself and understanding, like, me and him have both been through the system from top to bottom. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Please go on.
But the system, I'm going to swear, I apologize in advance.
Try not to.
Is designed to fudge you.
Thank you.
It's designed.
I'm here for you.
It's designed to fudge you.
We'll get them. We'll get them.
It's not there. It's not there for your success. You just keep paying. The cow will keep milking you. It'll go moo. Keep paying me.
It's so sad to hear what you're saying, but it's so true.
Yep.
Go on, please.
And it's not designed for you to find success. We both lived through it. Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong.
Because everything is about
you. You didn't come from a family that had experience in this country getting to the next level. Correct?
No,
me either.
Not at all.
And so we're talking from a place of experience.
Yeah, not at all.
This is not like 2 guys that are pissed off at the system.
No.
We are pissed off at the system.
But not in that way.
But not in that way.
We're not trying to, crucify him just for being the system.
We're pissed off that we don't have a system in place to help more people get to the next level.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Now, if anybody's saying, oh, these guys are just, this and that. Mm-hmm. Okay, show me.
Give us one world-class player.
Give me. Yeah, there you go.
Don't say Pulisic because he's not world-class.
Yeah,
he's a good player.
He's an average player.
But he's not world-class.
Come on, guys, be honest. He's decent. But please, don't tell me this guy's world-class. Why? Because he played over there and over there? Okay, what has he won?
Hold on, wait.
Come on.
You know Sir Alex Ferguson, right?
Not only that, I still like Pulisic. I like the way he plays. He's a decent player, but he's no Romario. I'll just leave it at that.
Check this out. You know Sir Alex Ferguson, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in one of his books, I think it was in the leading book, his second one, he talked about how he only had 4 world-class players. This is a guy that had, in my opinion, multiple world-class players.
Thousands and thousands of players go through him.
He's saying he had 4, which was, if I remember correctly,
hundreds, not thousands, but hundreds.
Ronaldo was 1. Yeah. Ryan Giggs was 1. Paul Scholes was 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then, who was the last one? Those were the 3, and then there's one more I'm drawing a blank on. Because he didn't even say Wayne Rooney.
World class.
He said there was 4 world class. He said Ronaldo, Paul Scholes, and Giggs, and there's one more. Oh, Cantona. It was Cantona.
Oh, Cantona.
He said those were the 4 world class players that
guy
he had. Yeah. And that means like Wayne Rooney didn't make it. Roy Keane didn't make it. Rio Ferdinand didn't make it. Nemanja Vidic didn't make it. Patrice Evra didn't make it.
Where to most or some people, these are world-class players.
I would say they're world-class.
Yeah.
For me, they're world-class.
Yeah.
But then he's coming out as one of the greatest, if not the greatest manager of all time at that level, saying
and he only
there's only 4.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, so then that means if there's only 4 guys under his thing that were world-class, like, and again, I'm not trying to put anybody down, but like, that means our national team players are not as close,
not even
as we are led to believe.
Yeah.
And that is again a huge problem, because if he's coming out and saying 4 players, and by the way, how many of those 4 players have won a World Cup? I don't think Cantona was on the. Actually, he might have been on the '98 World Cup squad. Was he?
98 Cantona, maybe.
I can't remember. We'll look it up.
94, I think possibly, right?
He might have been on the 98 squad. I don't remember. But if he was, he'd be one player that won the World Cup.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to it's very hard to figure this stuff out, because it's hard, man. Like, there's not a lot of people, honestly, that care about youth development and trying to do the right thing, because it's, again, me and him talk about this all the time. It's much easier. It's much easier to be a cash cow and just worry about the dollar bills than to try and do the right thing.
Let me ask you something.
Please.
How long has the United States had a men's U.S. national team?
Well, we played in one of the first World Cups, like 1930 or something.
Very good.
Something like that,
you know your history. Very
of course,
good.
You got to be a part of it.
So let me tell you guys something. This is the reason why I'm bringing this up. 1930. I looked that up.
It was
Very
30
good.
or 34?
Yeah, I think it was 34, actually. Yeah. I'm thinking, was it 30? It might have been 34. So I need to brush up in my history. But it was 30-something. That's where I get a little confused.
I think it's either 30 or
I think was it 30? It might have even been the first one, too.
I have my computer right here. Let's look it up.
But, yeah, we'll look it up. Okay, we'll tell you guys. Basically, where am I going with that? Think about all the countries that were in the World Cup then till now. Okay, I'm sure most of them.
Yeah, 1930.
1930, right? Yeah, 1930, guys. So most of them didn't win the World Cup that ever started. Just a handful of them.
Yeah.
But look at how much all those countries that started then, where they are today.
Yeah.
They're well advanced and developed, even though they haven't won a World Cup. Then you look at us. It's almost as if we went. Guys, we have one division in the United States, MLS. And if you see, with all due respect to MLS, this is just my opinion from the facts I gathered, what a club needs to have and do to be in the MLS, first and foremost. Oh, I could see that through my rear mirror.
I used to have fake money wherever I threw it away the other day. I should get it out of the trash and be like, isn't it like 250 million or 300 million for the franchise?
Last I heard it was 250 for the franchise. Yeah. So think about it. Okay.
Pay to play.
Pay to play. Yeah, basically. Okay, that's fine. Maybe there are some other, things here and there that maybe we're missing, but here's the point. You're in a country that you only got one division. Okay? And you got to keep up with. Go ahead. Do it again. If you don't, you're out, basically. Okay? So, how do you think we're going to do in the next 25 years?
Oh, I want to answer this guy's question. Really good question.
Hold on.
I don't know how to say your name. Coach. So you said, I've seen your videos and lives a few times. You talk, sorry, I tried to read your sideways. You talk about the problems. What are some of your solutions? That's a really good question.
Okay.
So if you paid attention to any of my stuff, I'm guessing you haven't paid attention to stuff where I give you solutions. So did you watch my live event on September 8th? Let's start with that.
Well, they might be new, right? They maybe didn't. They don't. I don't know. From what they said, looks like they. From the question, does it look like they know you or
not? I mean, they said they've seen some of my stuff.
Yeah.
But you probably haven't seen all my stuff. So the reason I'm bringing that up is, if you watched my live video from September 8th, like if you were at the event or you watched it after, you would have seen all the stuff that I gave away for free. So what I mean by that is I had $23,195 worth of content that I gave parents like yourself. I'm assuming you're a parent. I don't know anything about you. I'm sorry. For free. 14 programs. You can send me a DM afterwards. I gave it all away for free. And the reason that I did that is because I want to make parent and player education accessible to everybody. And the only way to do that is for free, because to answer your point, I talk about problems. And in my opinion, the way to come up with rapid solution, immediate change, it's not going to be immediate, but the fastest way to make change is parents like yourself buying in and saying, you know what, I'm not paying for this bull crap anymore. That is the only way to change it, because it doesn't matter what I do. I mean, I can help a small area.
Yeah.
He can help a small area.
Yeah.
That's it. You as a parent have to say, I'm putting my foot down. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not paying for mediocrity. And that's why I gave away all that content for free. So if you haven't yet, go to my Instagram bio link, click the link. So when you go to my profile in the bio, which is by the top, click the link and you'll see the live event you can watch. And then I have every single program listed, and you can click on any single one. So for example, just quickly, I have a pro mindset. So if your child is struggling with mental development, like they don't know how to perform in the field, or they can't deal with the pressure, or you need footwork training, that your child struggles with footwork, or let's say you want to go to college, I have an entire college recruiting process, or you want to learn how to get to Europe, I have some strategies available for you as well. Like there's so much content, there's way more, by the way, for free. All you have to do is click the link. And I made the decision to make it accessible for everybody, because a lot of people are saying, you know what, Kyle, you just complain. Kyle,
Really?
you just complain. Oh,
Really?
yeah, just complaining. And I said, you know what, let me do something to help you guys. And that's why I made that decision. And then there's other stuff that I post. It's like one of the best ones, in my opinion, is what I call my youth soccer playbook. I have a girls and boys edition. And those are the exact steps that I would take with my son or daughter, depending on, again, boys or girls, that I would do from birth to hopefully signing a professional contract. And those are all the steps that I would take with my child going through this, what word do I want to use? Fudged up American system.
There you go. No cursing.
So I hope that answers your question,
Well,
man.
here's one last thing.
Yeah.
How many cash cows has approached you for you to come board with them, Kyle?
Say it again.
I said, how many cash cows has approached you to come aboard with them?
Oh, to join them? I've had quite a few.
Kudos to you.
Kudos.
Same here. You know what I mean? So, it's not about, he's always,
It's not even about the money.
No, it's not. And I don't know. I love the game, bro. The game is awesome, isn't it? I enjoy it. I love
Like you said, I think you said it one day. It's in your blood, bro.
It's in the blood. Yeah, I said it's in the blood. You just want to see people enjoy this game and really get the correct fundamentals and get the right foot, to step in with the right foot, the correct foot. So then the rest of the path, at least, is you can see it already paved out from a distance. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. You just know you got to put that work in. You know what I mean?
It's not hard.
And I get caught out there.
But...
And I get caught out there with these, these academies, or what I mean. Just be careful, because it's money out of your pocket and no growth and no development at all. And when you see it, it's just too late. And the child is
what's crazy?
And the child's just too old.
I think people also forget sometimes that you and me were in the system.
Yeah.
I played for a cash cow. I'm sure damn well you did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Strikers weren't the only.
Just like me.
Strikers were a good club.
That
I would say that.
It's like, the cow does exist, and the cow is almost everywhere, because the cow is what survives.
Yeah.
So we'll try to answer some questions you guys have.
I was gonna say they got some.
Yeah, that's it. Same happened here too, but I'm all set with that. Developed our club for the last 10 years.
Good.
There you go. Good for you,
That's
bro.
awesome, man.
Love it, fellas. So about it. I appreciate you, bro.
Sorry, guys. The camera's kind of.
Yeah, it's turned sideways. I mean, there's a bunch more that I saw earlier that I didn't get a chance to read. But yeah, I mean,
Jared Barbosa, good man. All right,
you're the man, Jared.
Thank you, Jared. That's good.
But yeah, I mean, it's just that, guys. Like, I'll say it again real quick just to recap in case you jumped in or it'll be later in the video or whatever. Like, the thing is, Pilotto and myself, we're frustrated. Bro.
Yeah. Basically, we're frustrated.
We want you to be successful.
Yeah, all of you. You know what I mean? Your children, your children's children, your cousins, your nephews, your grandchildren, whatever that may be.
This game,
and we want you to make the right choices so you don't go through the things that we went through. You know,
this ball.
And I'm not saying we went through horrible things. That's not what I'm saying, but. It was some rough.
We were not prepared.
We weren't prepared, man. We had some rough roads, you know. And there are other things involved too, from in my side, there was so much that my parents could do, I also was, and I hit a certain age, I was maybe a little more rebellious, a little,
life,
just, some of us have a little more than others, and then you have to do things just start adding to life,
Hits you hard.
It hits you hard. You get older, then the responsibility comes. That's why we're saying, like, try to get your kids, in the right path, so then they could smooth in, whether it be college or pro. We just want them to hit the right direction early on, so they don't have to go through things that we went through. That's all,
We want to take away those scars.
Yeah.
Like,
basically.
I should have said this. I didn't say it earlier. Me and my parents did the math.
Yeah.
From my youth career, and there's things that we probably missed.
Right.
Our math that was added up to this point so far, without doing the extra that we probably missed, $82,593 we spent just on my youth career.
How much?
$82,593.
Wow.
So translate that back to today's youth. It's easily going to soar over $110,000, $120,000. You can go to college for that much, as an example, or start a business.
Or start a business. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Let me see. You said 85, right?
82,
Guys,
82.
82. So I'm going to even bring it down 80. I'm going to tell you from my South America experience perspective. Look at this. 80,000, right? 1, 2, 3. Back then it was times 3, so times 3. That's $240,000 of their money. Do you know how long you can live with $240,000 in Brazil back then? Okay, we're gonna say you went to school in the 90s.
Which school?
Like your college and
college, bro. I graduated college in 2015.
He's way younger than that. So that's now watch this. So he said 2015, right, guys?
I graduated college in 2015.
In 2015, which the dollar was times 5 then. So. Or 4. So 80,000 times, I'll say 4.5. That's 360,000 reais in Brazil.
Brazilian dollars,
okay? So he graduated. How old were you when you graduated?
22.
22. So if his parents would have took that money and sent them to an academy in Brazil, this is how much money you would have had. Spending in Brazil. I'm going to be honest with you guys. With that money, they could even buy people to make them a professional there. So with that money, let's say taking buying the person out,
You say pay for a trainer, pay for somebody to help you.
Yeah, he would definitely, literally be able to live very comfortable within the academy and become a pro. This would hold them off, this type of money right here. Look, $80,000. That's in reais. It's times 4.5 in 2015 or something like that. It was 3.5 to 4.5 times. I'm just going to say it was, and then it went up to 5. So I don't know when, if it was 216, 217. It's been 5 for a while.
It's crazy.
So the dollar is times 5 there. Basically, where am I going? I'm going to close with this. You can pay for an academy there and go in there. from high school. He could have paid. He could still went to high instead of go to college here. With this money for at least, I'm going to say a minimum of 4 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years. 3, 4 years. Easy. I mean, living good and being in an academy. Eating the best food, getting the best
What if you ate
And
cheap?
then I would have never met him.
What if you would have lived cheap?
If you would have lived cheap, I'm going to say...
8 years, 10 years?
I'm going to say about 6 years, I'm talking about living cheap. Living good, maybe about 3 to 5 years. 360,000 reais?
Crazy.
That's like $250,000 there. That is more than $250,000 there.
Yeah.
Trust me, if you know how to spend and you know the money, you will live for 3-4 years, 4 to 5 tops.
But you got to be responsible.
But you got to be responsible.
That's what you're talking about, responsibility.
That's what I'm talking about, responsibilities. You know what I mean? So think about it.
Man.
Because the money, look, you go look for a club in Brazil, you see what the cost is, you come back here and you do the math by dollar, man, you could send your kid, you know what I'm saying, to Brazil. You give him 3 to 5 years, he'll become a pro. And you'll be like, okay, that's it. His dreams came true, and we're ready to pack, and who knows?
Saudi, baby.
Before you know it,
Saudi Arabia.
before you know it, your child's being sold from Brazil to Europe. Then they're getting paid in what? In euros.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things we didn't know, I didn't know, that
now we know.
that we knew and we figured out within time. So
Yep. We want to save you those scars, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
But that's it, man. We're gonna wrap it up there so we can get back to life. You guys can go back home, enjoy your time with your family, and whatnot. I'm sure we'll be back out and you'll see us kicking some ass.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
And we'll see you back here. Same bat channel and same bat time.
See you guys later, man.
Take care, guys.